Hey Monkeys, James Bush here with Gymkhana in the US. We're back again for our second tech tip, MGym tech tip number 2. As I mentioned, we're going through all of these over again and kind of refreshing them. As you can see, it's a bit chilly in Southern California, so I'm rocking the Monkey hoodie and the Scully. But here we go. Tech tip number 2, clutch.
Clutch. To clutch or not to clutch? That is the question.
So here we have a VTR 1000F Honda 996 displacement. We've got a KTM 390 single cylinder, a WR 250 single cylinder. No clutch, occasionally clutch. Why so? Two schools of thought. On one hand, you've got an inline 4-cylinder or a large displacement sport bike twin. On the other hand, you've got a single cylinder. On this motorcycle, there's no need to use the clutch at all, even in rotation turns. Reason being, what you will often hear a lot of times in Motogymkhana events, even at the 2023 MGymkhana WC or any other online competition, you will hear before riders start out, the idle has been increased ever so slightly. The reason why that is it gives you a little bit more freedom of thought, and it allows you to rotate around cones a little bit quicker. At idle, this idle is roughly at about 1200 RPM. Because it's a larger displacement motorcycle, it will rotate and basically ride itself without any use of the clutch at all. Even in rotating around small cones or single points, it rotates very easily. On the other hand, you've got the 390 and the WR 250. They will also rotate without the clutch at all around single cones. It's a little bit slower, and because they're geared so much taller, it becomes a little bit more touchy off of idle. Whereas this one, even though it's touchy off of idle, it's significantly smoother. So a lot of times you will hear riders, even on the WR 250 or dirt bikes or motards or inline 4s, they will raise their idle or they increase their gearing on the rear wheel just to get the idle or get the motorcycle to ride a little bit higher in the idle. Because of that, you can eliminate the use of clutch altogether. Generally speaking, when people get nervous or panic or scared, even riding on the street, the first thing that they will do is they will pull in the clutch. When you pull in the clutch, what you're doing essentially is you're disconnecting yourself from the rear wheel. You don't know how much traction you do or you don't have because you've pulled into clutch, you've disengaged the engine, and now you're kind of two-stroking, I like to call it. You're kind of freewheeling it in the back. When the clutch is out, you know exactly how much traction you do or you don't have because it's in your right hand. You can feel it through your behind with your throttle hand how much traction you do or you don't have. In Motogymkhana, it's essential to know and feel how much traction you have in both the front and the rear. We'll talk about trail braking a little bit later. But now we're talking about clutch control. So, in going around a rotation turn, it's a whole lot easier to focus and concentrate on this than it is trying to find your friction zone. Now, because WRs and single-cylinder motorcycles are geared a little bit taller, and they're a little bit taller themselves, going around a rotation turn, it's really kind of player's choice whether you use the clutch or not. A lot of riders will use the clutch because it helps them to keep the RPMs up, which helps them to have that forward motion around those rotation turns, which gives them a little bit more confidence. And if you're riding a single cylinder, I would encourage you to try out one or the other. A lot of riders who ride single cylinders will increase their throttle significantly just to avoid having to find that friction zone. So if you come to one of our events here in the States, we talk about not using the clutch at all. Reason being, the transitions between right and left and rotation and not rotation in Motogymkhana are so condensed. Everything happens so quickly. There's less for you to focus on when you're not using the clutch. You can just focus on your contact with the throttle, the rear wheel, and the motorcycle itself. We're trying to eliminate things for you to think about and consider. Focus and concentrate on your throttle control as opposed to feathering the clutch. Some cases, you have to. Other cases, you don't have to. Come to one of our events here in Southern California. Find out for yourself. We talk about it, we teach about it, we instruct you on it. Monkeys, we'll see you soon. This is tech tip number 2, clutch control.